My sister-in-law is actually married to my half-brother, but for the post's sake, I'll just refer to him as my brother. We have the same mother, different fathers. My brother was from my mom's first marriage, and there's a 16-year age gap between us. He's 33, I'm 17, so we don't have a sibling relationship, we're more like cousins. We see each other a few times a year and have a good relationship, but we aren't super close. My mom died when I was 6, so I don't have many memories with her. However, she left me all of her jewelry with a handwritten note about the significance of each piece. My paternal family is somewhat wealthy, so a lot of the jewelry is actually gifts from my dad and grandparents to her paternal heirlooms. Since I have so few memories of my mom, I really treasure her jewelry. Going through life knowing that she's missing so many of my milestones is devastating, so I like to wear her jewelry during big events so that it's like she's with me. My brother and sister-in-law got married last year, they're upper middle class, but my sister-in-law wanted a really lavish wedding that they couldn't necessarily afford. My paternal family gifted them a large sum of money and I offered to let my sister-in-law borrow some of my jewelry to wear for the wedding instead of the costume jewelry she was going to wear. It was a nice way to integrate my mom's memory into the wedding and also be something borrowed. She was super excited and ended up picking out a set of pearl jewelry that was presented from my paternal grandparents to my mom for her wedding. She also chose a diamond brooch, hairpiece, that my mom and paternal grandma designed together using diamonds from the earrings she wore in my parents' wedding, both of my grandma's engagement rings, and some other paternal heirloom diamonds. They designed it together after I was born, intended for me. After the wedding, my sister-in-law tried to keep the jewelry since she claimed it was now more sentimental to her. I said no, but my brother told me to give her them since they're from his mom too. But I don't think that's fair since the jewelry has no significance for his paternal family. They keep pestering me whenever we meet, even though I told them no. Now my sister-in-law is pregnant and the baby is a girl. She messaged me with a list of jewelry she wanted from my collection because she wanted my niece to have them. That included all of the above jewelry, some other jewelry my mom left me, and also some pieces from my personal collection. My brother and sister-in-law think that I need to give my niece the jewelry since she's a girl of the family. If my niece wanted to borrow the same jewelry her mom wore for her wedding, which won't even be for like 20 years, I'd gladly let her. But I don't want to give away these important signifiers of my mom. They're calling me a selfish idiot since my niece won't have any inherited jewelry from her paternal family. I could definitely afford to give the jewelry away or buy more. But I don't want to and I won't. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Get a safe box and put the jewelry there just in case. It sounds like they're not stopping anytime soon until they get that jewelry. It's yours and you were super gracious by letting sister-in-law borrow your jewelry, they should have returned that to you immediately. Yes, there will be a girl in a family, but you have a greater right to it by being your mom's daughter. As someone else said, you can let your niece borrow it whenever she's 18 or so, but right now I don't feel as your brother and sister-in-law have the best intentions with it. It doesn't sound like they're doing it for the sentimental value. Not the idiot. If you were to try to come up with a textbook definition of entitlement, you couldn't do better than these people. Keep your jewelry and hand it down to one of your children or whoever you feel like giving it to. For your information, keep it all under lock and key. When any of them are going to be present in your home, put all of it in a safe deposit box at your bank. They are making such a big deal about it that it would totally not surprise me if they attempted to help themselves to it. Not the idiot. An aunt by marriage went through my grandmother's jewelry before my mother could. It was all left to mom as the only daughter to keep her dole out among female relatives as she chose. My aunt went through and catalogued it, bagged it, and boxed it. When my mom was able to look through it, it was completely clinical instead of lovingly taking out one piece at a time to remember her mom. Several pieces were missing, including a diamond solitaire necklace. My aunt 100% stole it, and my mom never got it back. Get your mom's jewelry back, sister-in-law be damned. About 8 years ago I went to a friend's wedding. While I was there I wound up having a drunken one-night stand with an old friend I went to school with. The next morning I woke up to her crying. She said she was in a serious relationship and our hookup was a big mistake. I instinctively apologized, but she insisted it was all her fault and I had no reason to apologize. I gave her my word that I will keep quiet about things and this would just be our secret. I've kept my word for years. I never said anything to anyone, I've actually almost forgot about it myself. About a month ago, I was scrolling through Facebook when I seen something that shook my whole world up. I seen a picture of my daughter sitting on some random guy's lap. After a double take and a thorough inspection, I realized this was not my daughter. I realized that it was my old friend's husband and their daughter. The resemblance is uncanny, those girls are almost twins. The math adds up and my thoughts have been driving me crazy for a month now. I want to say something, I feel like I need to know the truth. I need to put my mind to rest. I don't want to break a family, but after my mom passed away, I found out that me and my children are at high risk for colon cancer. If she is my child, I feel like this is something she needs to know. Edit. If I found out she was mine, I would most definitely want to be a part of her life. What kind of man would I be if I didn't? I agreed to keep her infidelity a secret, I never agreed to let another man raise my child. I feel guilty because the two of them look so happy in that picture. I would hate to spoil the relationship between those two. I couldn't imagine if I found out my daughter wasn't mine. But at the same time, I can't imagine missing out on my child's life. You're the idiot. Dude, you don't take a chance of breaking up a family because you saw a kid on Facebook that looks exactly like your daughter. Colon cancer in kids occurs 3 times out of every 15 million cases. I don't think this should be any kind of an issue for another decade at least. I love the comments on the posters calling the mom a liar. How the hell would the mom know her daughter was OPs, if indeed she is, unless she had a DNA test done with her husband and daughter? If you did this, absolutely you are the idiot. Don't do it. You'd be destroying that child's world if their parents got divorced, not to mention how confusing it would be for her to have this random person show up expecting to be involved in her life. If you truly care about her, stay away. You are not this girl's father, you are the sperm donor. The husband is her father, so what do you really expect to happen if you show up expecting her to welcome you into her life? Not the idiot. But I'm a little unsure what your intentions are. So you just want this girl to have an accurate medical history? Or do you want to be part of her life? If it's the former, arrange to meet with the mom and just say, if there's any chance she could be my daughter, she has this risk. And leave it at that. Otherwise, yay, you're within your rights to try and be part of the girl's life, but you'd have to weigh if that's worth destroying her family life. Background. I'm 28 with no kids. My girlfriend is 26 and has an 8-year-old son from her previous relationship. She was with a guy since they were kids, but when she got pregnant, he dropped the ball. She had it pretty hard during the early years, and it was a huge struggle for her to balance work, school, and her son. She made it work and is now in law school. The kid's dad made a change about 3 years back when his own father died and has since been helping. We've been together for a year and 2 months and I really do love her. However, when we first got together she did mention that she doesn't see herself having other kids because it was incredibly hard. She values her time alone when her kid is away and she wants to travel with her son being that he's bigger now. Also that she has a school-age kid and doesn't want to start over with an infant. We were too early for me to complain about it or try to change her mind. It wasn't brought up again for some time. Fast forward to last night, we were watching something, and I mentioned that my coworker has left work to have her 4th kid. She said that she couldn't imagine having that many kids. I got a little offended being that my parents had 5. She told me that that's what worked for my parents, but it wouldn't work for her. I asked why, and she listed the reasons above, and that 4 kids is just excessive. I tried to reason it down to 3 or even 2. She said she doesn't want any children but her son. The way I see it, the only reason it was so hard was because of her age when she first had him. My logic is that any future children we produce will be secure and she won't be alone or have to struggle. For background, I have 4 siblings, well she has 1 sister who lives in another state. She doesn't understand how important siblings are. I told her if she's unwilling to have even 1 child for me in the future then we're done. She agreed and said we're done then and I'm incredibly hurt. This is a hill she's willing to die on. She's super smart but so hard-headed. No matter what I said all night, she wouldn't hear it or budge her views at all. I'm hurt because I made the empty threat and she very easily went through with it. I'm not feeling valued at all. I love this woman and the thought of us having an expiration date kills me. I want to marry her and have kids with her, and she's just uninterested. She also said I was being an idiot and not taking her experiences into account when I totally am. I acknowledge how hard it was for her, which is why I think she would have a totally different experience if she tried again. She's not 18 anymore and will have me by her side. I want her back but don't know what to say. She seemed very certain when she agreed to the breakup. Please tell me, am I the idiot? You're the idiot for giving her an ultimatum and being upset by the outcome. And for being astounded that someone who said she doesn't want any more kids actually wouldn't want more kids, let alone 4. She's not an idiot for not wanting more kids just as much as you're not an idiot for wanting them. Clearly, this means you guys just aren't a match. If that's a deal breaker, then you need to accept it and move on. It's unfair to both of you for you to waste time entertaining the relationship, assuming she'll change her mind somewhere down the line. You are the idiot and don't make stupid empty threats. This is the number one without question hill that she should die on. There's literally no more important hill that a relationship should ever die on. All people considering different positions on this hill should take their relationship up there and shoot it dead. You can't compromise on kids, you can't have half a kid. This is obviously important to her to not do again, and it's important to you to have a family. You need to find someone that wants to have kids, not someone that would only begrudgingly have them because you convinced them. You're the idiot. You complain that it's a hill she is willing to die on, but it's the same hill for you. You expect her to change a decision she is confident in, but you're unwilling to make the same compromise. I don't blame either of you, people want what they want, but she's been very clear and upfront from the beginning. Maybe your timing's off or maybe you're not quite as on par as you think you are, but you are the idiot for expecting her to shift all of her plans and desires for you without considering you're not willing to do the same for her. Me and my ex-husband split up 6 years ago when our son was 7, but he still lives very close and we spend a lot of time together. Our son, Boz, is autistic and he has a lot of special interests. He talks so fast you can't understand what he's saying and he'll tell you the same facts 500 times, but I love him and I love that he wants to talk to me so much. His father is less tolerant. After 10 minutes or so he'll go, "Alright kid, that's enough," and continue to cut our son off whenever he tries to talk. I've tried talking to him about it and he said that he wouldn't mind if Boz spoke about new things, but there were only so many times he can listen to the same facts and it gives him a headache after a while. I let it slide and I explained to my son that his father is less tolerant. 2 weeks ago I got my son a dog as dogs are one of his special interests and I think he needs a companion through this pandemic. I'm in a better financial situation and Boz definitely knows what he's doing. I called a local shelter, we looked for a dog who would fit us best, and now we have a new member of the family. We went distanced dog shopping, and my ex eventually found out about a week ago. He got upset that I do something that meant so much to our son and not invites him along. I told him once he sat and engaged with our son for more than half an hour regarding his special interests, he could start coming with us when we do family things. He got huffy about it, saying that it's not like that, but I was done with the conversation and hung upon him. I went to bed not thinking much of it. I woke up to literally hundreds of missed calls and texts from family members. My ex had plastered it all over Facebook. Most of the replies consisted of people calling me selfish, but a few, particularly one from my mother, hit hard. She, specifically, said that the reason Boz doesn't get along with his father is because I exclude him from things. She seems to think my ex isn't gonna want to put in the hard work if he isn't going to get the fun stuff as well. I said he should do the hard work either way because he's a father and that's his job. Overall the backlash has been pretty bad. Boz knows what's going on and has chosen to ignore it in favor of hanging out with his new best friend. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This dude sounds so entitled, what the hell? Getting a dog was a special thing for you and your son. The dog will be living in your house, so he shouldn't feel entitled to be brought along for that kind of purchase. He just wants brownie points with Boz and his Facebook friends and to take credit for something that is entirely your responsibility in the long run. It's selfish, and putting the whole discourse online for family and friends to see was backhanded and frankly quite childish. I hope that you, your son, and his new friend are safe and having fun together. Everyone's the idiot here, he should try to be more tolerant, but it's a good thing for your son to learn that most people don't want to listen to anyone go on and on about the same thing. I really take issue with you unilaterally deciding that his dad can't do fun stuff unless he does things exactly as you do. There's a lot of different ways to parent without being abusive, and from your description of his actions, it doesn't sound like he is. Posting on Facebook was an idiot move 100% though, which is why I didn't vote you are the idiot. Everyone's the idiot here at Tad. Mostly him. He was so wrong for going to Facebook. And you are not required to invite him on family outings. Y'all aren't a family. He can do his own with his son. The only reason I think you might be staying a bit into idiot territory is because of your requirement to listen for 30 minutes. I just think that parents do things differently. They have to find their way together. You trying to force things and set time limits won't help. Don't set conditions on inviting him to outings, either do or don't, then move on. I, 62, lost my wife 10 years ago. This happened during that time, but has been brought up recently. When my wife died, I ended up relying heavily on my oldest, who was 16, and I'll call Nancy. She gave up the most, I'll admit that, because I needed someone to watch the younger boys while I worked. She could no longer be part of her soccer team or her art program, I needed her home. During her senior year, she told me going to prom was very important to her and to please figure something out so she could go. I said I would, but ended up forgetting about it and working late. I got home to find her crying in her dress. I was tired and didn't want to get into it and told her I was sorry, but it wasn't like she missed anything important. Nancy didn't talk to me for days after that. When her college letters started coming in, I didn't think much of it and assumed she'd pick a college close to home. Well, she ended up getting a partial scholarship to a school several hours away. I was pretty upset because I still needed help, but she said she gave up 2 years of doing anything for herself to take care of her brothers, and she wasn't a replacement mom, and I used her. I said she was being dramatic and she couldn't abandon her family. What were we supposed to do? She said I should be a parent and figure it out. There was a big fight, but she left anyhow. I don't have much contact with her now. My oldest son is a senior this year, and he was FaceTiming Nancy, saying there wouldn't be a prom and how he understood, but he was disappointed because he really wanted to take his girlfriend. Nancy said she understood because she didn't get to go to her senior prom either. He said he was sorry, but she said it wasn't his fault, he was just a kid, and that I didn't come home when I was supposed to, so she missed it. I came in and said it was pretty pathetic she was still hung up on that, and she snapped back it was far more pathetic to be so inept as a parent I couldn't handle giving her one night that I knew was important to her. She then said goodbye to her brother and signed off. My son said I'm an idiot and that it was no surprise Nancy wanted nothing to do with me. I got angry and grounded him, but he just laughed. I don't think it was at all appropriate for her to tell him that, but my son maintains I'm the only idiot here. So, am I the idiot? Yes, you are the idiot. A huge idiot. Your child is not a parent, and it was reprehensible of you to force that responsibility on her and act like she owed it to you. I am not at all surprised she doesn't speak to you. Clearly, your son agrees. I'm sure you're asking what else should I have done? How about anything but robbing your child of important formative experiences? Sure, you probably would have had to pay a little more money or been required to make more sacrifices to your own lifestyle. But you are the parent here. Not your daughter. You're the idiot big time. Your daughter is right, you're the parent, figure it out. It's not your child's, yes, in high school, and under your care, even if she was 18 makes her a child, job to take care of your others like that. She sacrificed soccer and art, asked for one thing and you couldn't even do that. I completely agree with your daughter and son. She can be hung up about missing it just a few years later, you let her down massively, and can't even apologize sincerely about it. Good luck ever getting a relationship with her again if you continue to act this way.